Do you have this problem? You come home from a long day, missing Valorant, your crush texts you saying, "Hey, I know I've been ignoring you, but I want you to come over now." But as a gamer dedicated to your craft, you have your priorities in order and say, "Nah, I'm good. I want to rank up in Valorant like the true boss I am." So you hop on ranked, you're getting kills, fragging out, and you're thinking, how did we lose this? My teammates suck. I got the most kills and I'm still losing. How can I win my games? There must be a better way. Well, there is. My name is FPS Fox, and in this video, I'm going to be talking about 5 things you can focus on to instantly improve the quality of your ranked games. These are economy, positioning, ultimates, ability usage, and rotation. If you're looking to win more games, outsmarting your opponents, playing better, then grab your notepad, get some water, take a seat, and enjoy the video. The first thing I want to go over is economy in Valorant. What does this mean? To keep it simple, it refers to the money that your team and the enemy team has and how you spend it. One thing you can do instantly to improve your games is to monitor this on both teams. How do you do that? Well, the easy part is that you can view what each team has at the beginning of the round by checking your scoreboard. The next step is to do some maths. Now I know you want to play Valorant to chill and have fun, but you gotta add some numbers to calculate what is possible to buy depending on how much money you have. If you can't be bothered to do some calculations, just remember this. Typically, if the enemy has less than 3,000 per person on average, then they probably will either, number 1, force buy, which means spending all their credits to buy guns and abilities. Typically, due to low money, they'll buy cheaper guns. Number 2, they will half buy, which means they spend enough money where they can still afford to get a full purchase next round. Or number 3, they save, which means they spend minimal money so they can have more money in the future rounds. If you're thinking, but Fox, why is this so important? Allow me to explain. Let's say everyone in your match is the exact same skill level. One team has a full purchase of guns, abilities, and shields, and the other team has little money to buy anything. In theory, who do you think would win? I would say the team with more money. So by being aware of the economy difference, you can strategize how to play the round. If you have high economy and can buy rifles, maybe on attack play a site which has more open space so you can keep your range. If you have low economy, then perhaps play a site which has tight spaces so you can use cheaper guns like stingers or shotguns to potentially win the round. One thing to note is that if you win a round, it does not mean that the enemy will have bad economy because they lost all their guns. Depending on their circumstances, such as how many rounds they've lost in a row and other factors, they could have enough money to buy guns and shields which can swing the next round in their favor. This is why it's important to check your scoreboard in the beginning of every round and see what the economy is like for both teams so you are aware of what is possible. One thing I want to mention is to communicate with your teammates before the round begins during the buy phase. If you are saving and one teammate has spent their money, remind them that your team is saving. They may just be unaware of what's happening, so be that friendly teammate and say, "Hey buddy, let's save." And if they say, "No, go away, you suck dude," then just ignore them and focus on the game. So overall, in the beginning of every round, check the scoreboard and figure out what the economy of both teams are so you can create a strategy using this information. This will hopefully instantly improve your ranked experience. The second thing I want to talk about is the positioning of the enemy. So in most ranks, a lot of players hold the same or similar positions such as an entrance, backside, or a corner to duel. If you see a pattern of a player being in the same position, you could take advantage of this in different ways depending on your circumstances. For example, when attacking, if you know that the enemy is holding backside and you have a raise, you can grenade that location, leading to killing, damaging, or forcing the opponent to get out of that spot. This idea of predicting the enemy's position could also be used defensively. If you know that a player from the enemy's team has an operator and they're always holding the same site, you might not want to take a 1v1 there. Pattern recognition is important, and you may be able to recognize what the enemy does in key moments of a round, such as where they position in the beginning of a round, or where they typically plant spike, or where they are positioned when defending spike after planting. A tip to instantly improve your games with this is to take note of these positions, mention this to your team, ping the spots so you can work as a team to eliminate that opponent. This will give you confidence in your play as you will all be on the same page regarding what is happening, and hopefully that will result to you winning the round. For example, you're on a 2v1 and your teammate doesn't know where the enemy is, but you do. You have option 1. You don't communicate the enemy's position and die. Afterwards, your teammate then fights the enemy and dies, and you lost a round. Or you have option 2, which is you communicate with your teammate, hey, the enemy's around the corner, let's peek together and fight. You fight together and it's successful. Which option would you choose? I think we all would choose option 2, unless you're that guy who said, you suck, dude, earlier in the buy phase. Keep in mind that it is also important to make sure your team is communicating with you. Ask them to also be aware of any patterns the enemies may have. That way, you as a group collect more information, thus leading to better team play to counter the enemy. By doing this, you will improve your ranked match experience and hopefully win some more games. If they don't communicate, that's fine, but you do your part and look out for patterns and let your team know about it. The third topic of this video is about ultimate abilities. We all know what ultimates are and what they do, but it is also important to know what ultimates are a threat in each round. For example, if you plan to run down a choke point and the enemy Raze has her ultimate, don't be surprised if she kills you with her ultimate. You should be aware that Raze's ultimate was ready, and you being in a situation which favors her, such as grouping together in a small space, is playing to Raze's advantage. When starting a round or before making a play, check what your team and the enemy team's ultimate charges are so you can anticipate what ultimates could be used in the round by the enemy and perhaps bait some of them out. You can also keep track of your team's ultimates and make sure your teammates don't use their ults unnecessarily. In this case, perhaps be the shot caller and suggest what should be used this round based on your team's strategy. I've seen games where people use ults when not needed, and that ult which was used could have been very helpful in the next round if they still had it. In summary, a tip to instantly improve your ranked experience is to be aware of the ultimate charges on both teams, figure out what's a threat, and coordinate what ultimates you will use for the round. The next topic I want to talk about is the abilities of each agent. One thing that is common across many ranks is that some players like to use abilities in the same manner. For example, if a KO is consistently throwing his suppression blade at the beginning of a round at the same location on a site, you can play around this by waiting for the blade to not detect anyone before pushing site. By doing this, you give yourself a bit of time for the enemy to think your team is not present in the location. Another example of repeated usage of abilities would be Raze throwing grenades at the same location, or Viper using her wall on a site where she wants to plant. Calling out enemy ability usage to your teammates can help gather information of what is used and what is left from the enemy team. From this knowledge, your team can make a decision on what your next play would be. My overall tip for this would be to call out abilities used by the enemy team, and if you can warn your teammates of an enemy ability that may be key in a round, make sure to let them know. Now that brings me to the final topic of rotations. What is a rotation? A rotation is when a team is on their way to one site, but then they change where they want to push and go towards a different site. But Fox, how can I improve my ranked matches with this? Well, if you see a habit of the enemy team making rotations or not making rotations, you can play and match their rotations accordingly. So for example, I had games where the enemy team went one round A, next round B, and kept going A, B, A, B. They did not rotate mid-round at all. After a few rounds of noticing this, I let my team know about this pattern, and we had more players on the site where we predicted them to be, and we were right every time. By being able to correctly predict and react to if there's a rotation or not, you can then put yourself in a favorable position and get some kills simply from positioning instead of having the stress of dueling your opponent. An overall tip for rotations would be to note down if you see a pattern of the enemy consistently faking a site before going somewhere else, or if they keep committing to one site, or any other habit you may notice. By being aware of enemy rotations, you can communicate and coordinate with your team on how to play the round, which can help improve your games and lead to more round wins and more victories. So, I wanted to have an overview of these 5 things, as I believe that these can improve your ranked matches by being aware of it, and by having awareness, you will be more focused in your games, thus leading to better performances and hopefully more wins. By being aware of these 5 things and working with your team, I hope that you win more games and have more fun while doing so. Thank you so much for the support so far. Every comment means a lot to me. Let me know if you have any future video suggestions. I'll see you guys in the next video.